Thank you for joining with me. We are reading out of A Course in Miracles, and we are in Volume 3, the Manual for Teachers. This is Section 3, What are the Levels of Teaching? And today we will read paragraphs 3 through 5. If you would like to join me in prayer. Dear Father, if left to my own devices, my perception will be skewed. I surrender to you everything that I think and feel. God, please take my past, plan my future, send your Spirit to redeem my mind, that I might be set free. May I be your channel, God, and serve the world. May I become who you would have me be, do what you would have me do, go where you would have me go, and say what you would have me say, and to whom. God, please enable me to set aside everything I think I know for an open mind and a new experience. Thank you, God. Amen. All right, so we're picking up paragraph 3. It is difficult to understand that levels of teaching the universal course is a concept as meaningless in reality as is time. Footnote 24. Levels of teaching implies more teaching and learning on the higher levels, just as time implies more and more learning as time proceeds. Both, therefore, must be illusions simply because all learning is already complete, having been completed the instant God gave his answer to the separation. Strictly speaking, then, there are no gradations of learning. The illusion of one permits the illusion of the other. In time, the teacher of God seems to begin to change his mind about the world with a single decision, and then learn more and more about the new direction as he teaches it. We have covered the illusion of time already, and we'll go down. That's the Manual of Teachers 2, sentences 2 through 4. But the illusion of levels of teaching seems to be something different. Perhaps the best way to show that these levels cannot really exist is simply to say that any level of the teaching-learning situation is a part of God's plan for atonement, and his plan can have no levels being a reflection of his will. Salvation is always ready and always there. God's teachers work at different levels, but the result is always the same. Each teaching-learning situation is maximal in the sense that each person involved will learn the most that he can from the other person at the time. In this sense, and in this sense only, we can speak of levels of teaching. Using the term in this way, the second level of teaching is a more sustained relationship in which for a time two people enter into a fairly intense teaching-learning situation and then appear to separate. Footnote 26. Both this second level and third level may seem to be describing a typical romantic relationship, yet we need to remember that they are levels of teaching in a teaching-learning situation. In other words, these relationships are ones in which a teacher is teaching his way or path to a learner, even if that may be happening only informally. It is possible for these relationships to be romantic ones, but they can take many forms. As with the first level, these meetings are not accidental, nor is what appears to be the end of the relationship. 27. Footnote 27, the end of the relationship is not an accident because, as the next sentence implies, the two have reached the limit of their current ability to learn from each other, and they have been together only for the sake of that learning. Again, each has learned the most that he can at the time. Yet all who meet will someday meet again, for it is the destiny of all relationships to become holy. God is not mistaken in his Son. The third level of teaching occurs in relationships which, once they are formed, are lifelong. These are teaching-learning situations in which each person is given a chosen learning partner who presents him with unlimited opportunities for learning. These relationships are generally few because their existence implies that those involved have reached a stage simultaneously in which the teaching-learning balance is actually perfect. 28. Teaching-learning balance is a term used in education, often referring to a balance between teachers giving information to pupils and pupils expending their own time and effort to make sense of that information. Thus, there is a good teaching-learning balance when the two parties are giving equally to the process. This enables what is given by the teacher to be fully received by the pupil. As used above, however, the term seems to signify more of a balance between the teacher's ability to teach and the pupil's ability to learn, so that what the teacher is able to teach, the pupil is able to learn. This does not mean that they necessarily recognize this. In fact, they generally do not. They may even be quite hostile to each other for some time, and perhaps for life. Yet, should they decide to learn it, the perfect lesson is before them and can be learned. And if they decide to learn that lesson, they become the saviors of the teachers who falter and may even seem to fail. No teacher of God can fail to find the help he needs. Thank you so much for joining with me. This is the conclusion of Part 3 of the Manual for Teachers. What are the levels of teaching?